Nickelodeons. What are they?
All I have in my mind is the little orange splotchy things that come up like when you see the like emblem for Nickelodeon.
The type of camera?
I don't remember now.
Watching films and television has become the norm for a majority of the people in this country, and in the world. If it were not for these cheap short films called Nickelodeons, the way we watch movies would be vastly different. Today, it costs upwards of $10 to see a movie, but back in the 1900s, it cost just a nickel. Nickelodeons had various advantages over the films at the time. The first being the price. Most films in the vaudeville houses were 25 cents, and in some places higher, which was more than the average worker could afford. The Nickelodeons introduced a availability and price point that many could enjoy. These theaters, where patrons paid 5 cents per show, usually showcased a series of shorts accompanied by a live vaudeville act. Nickelodeons at their inception completely changed the landscape of film at the time, and much time after. Individualized viewing has become the new norm.
I personally do not like going out to the movies. I think it's awful.
I used to go out to the movie theater a lot more. I don't lately, not anymore. I don't think I've really been out to the movie theater, honestly, since I was a kid.
Well, I don't think anybody really goes to the movies as much anymore.
I usually watch the movies on my laptop.
I think society in general do not like going out to movies as much as they used to.
I normally watch movies probably on Netflix when I do. Like I sit alone at home, usually on my couch.
Nickelodeons have influenced the film industry in that those were the first films that we ever had, and it was for profit. We were looking at ways of how can we advance this technology and how can we use it and how can we make money from it.
Nickelodeons act as a stepping stone for filmmakers by preparing them for feature films, because eventually Nickelodeons were able to accommodate feature films. Even today, filmmakers use short films as a means to prepare themselves for the production of feature-length films.
A short film really allows a filmmaker to figure out their storytelling abilities. What types of stories are they interested in? How do I tell it, and how do I tell it well? And so it's a practice that we've just never abandoned. So like we do abandon some of the things that were being done in the silent era, and we don't always use the same type, like film's going away, but we're always going to kind of come back to our roots, which is the short form. The one shot of the 30-second film or the 1-minute film. And there's whole festivals geared around a minute film or less, and where they have screening blocks dedicated to it. So I think we'll always come back to it. I think it does have an influence on short films being, the early 1900s does have an influence on films being made today. But some of those filmmaking practices have changed. It's just, there's something magical about being able, having a short length in which to tell a story, because you can do some really amazing things without having to dig into exposition or, okay, this has to happen and this has to happen, and you have like these 8 other characters. You can tell a story with one person or with 2 people or an object, and it can be absolutely wonderful.
So the next time you sit down to watch the newest amazing graphically intense blockbuster, remember the very, very humble beginnings of the Nickelodeon.